feel like this should be enough. Right? I'm over here in this struggle for absolutely no reason. Like, I don't have that much room in my knit class. If I'm lucky, I have a lot more, but whatever, right? Why is this not enough? I gotta do 6 rows of this, and then I start working that yoke pattern. The yoke pattern is like a repeat, like a 12 stitch repeat. And since I have 264 stitches on my needles, that works out to be, I think, 22 times. I repeated if my math is correct. I don't know, my math be off sometimes. So I'm gonna put markers in there so that I check like with every repeat, because I'll be damned if I go 264 rounds and then I'm off and then I have to go back and try and find it. Kill yourself. I'm not doing that. It's bad enough that I've had this yarn, which I don't really like, for so long. And my knit teacher, I guess, or mentor, whatever you want to call her, because now we're at the point where she doesn't just tell me what to do. We argue over designs and patterns to see what makes better sense and what I feel comfortable with. So I think it's great. But I forgot where I was going with that. But my mentor, knit instructor, whatever you want to call it, um, oh, damn it, I lost my train of thought. Can you believe that? That's one of the reasons why I knit anyway. But I'm gonna put the stitch markers around for 22, like I was saying before. Oh yeah, now I remember. I want to move on to my baby blankets, like a new one that I put together. And she was like, "You got to finish the sweater." And I'm like, "Ugh, I don't want to finish the sweater." She was like, "Trust me, even if you don't like it, you have to finish the sweater." Whoever said that knitting is zenful, yeah, it is. But for like the first 15 minutes or so before I get in the zone with the pattern, my brain just goes all over the place. And that's what I've decided to start recording. Like my process with whatever I knit, whatever patterns I go through, and the random things that come into my mind while I finally get into that zone and that space of peace. And this sweater, I tell you, I've taken it out, I put it back together. Don't let these videos fool you where people just show you, ooh, how wonderful it looks at the end. There's a lot of ripping out. They call it frogging or something. I don't know why. But anyway, there's a lot of ripping out that happens sometimes with these intricate patterns, unless you're like a knit savant, which I am not. Okay? Which I am not. I am a knit purl, sometimes a cable, knit two together, SSK decrease kind of knitter. I don't do all the extra fancy stuff. And in all honesty, I follow my heart when I knit, and sometimes I curse out the pattern like this doesn't make sense. But it's all a part of the process, and I absolutely love that. So, anyway, as I go through these next, I think, 6 rows of just knitting this is what I'm gonna go and have to deal with. But for this sweater, I have the marker starting here, and I'm counting from when I joined it together because that's when the pattern is supposed to start. like with any marker, you're supposed to slip it. You're not knitting it in pattern. It kind of just tells you where you are so you don't really get lost. It's like markers on a roadmap. That's why they call them markers, duh. So I have to do this probably two or no, like four more times going around if I'm correct, because I decided to not follow the pattern to great extent. I joined everything here, the arms and the body. And then I decided to start counting on the next row. So this row was the join, and this is the next row. So technically, I have done one, two, and then this makes the third row. So I have three more to go with this before I can actually start doing this pattern right here, which is supposed to end up looking like this at the end. And I feel obligated to do it because my girlfriend, when we went to Iceland, saw me pick up this pattern, and she felt like giving me a gift because it was my birthday, and this was it. The crazy thing about it is I saw the sweater. It looks beautiful, but the yarn is not the nicest. And when you buy the kit, everything is already in the kit. So I didn't know how it felt. And it was years before I decided to actually do this. And now that I'm doing it because I'm better at knitting now and I know what I like from what I don't like, I don't really like this yarn. But yokes intrigue me, which this is what this pattern is all about. Yokes intrigue me. And I want to understand a couple of things like the best way to connect it and stuff like that. So that's what I'm doing here. And then probably I'm going to think about a better way to give me more mobility with a yoke, because it goes around straight. There's no shaping. It's just decreases all the way up. And when you raise your hand, it doesn't look as form fitting as I would like. So after going through this process, I'll probably figure that out. But for now, I want to get into doing that. And then the funny thing about it is I went to Vogue Knitting like pre-COVID, and they had this class where I wanted to get into it because they were talking about how you could create your own yoke designs. They even gave you the template for it and walked you through how you could kind of create it yourself and figure out what patterns work and then transfer that onto a grid. So I still have the notes from that, and I think it's kind of cool. And I'm probably going to end up doing that in the future. But first, in order to break the rules, you got to know how to follow the rules. So I'm at that following the rules stage right now with this. Yeah. So anyway, I've already come to realize I don't like doing the sleeves. It's very constricting, but it's all a part of the process. Like the joy for me is when someone asks me, "Oh, where did you get that? I like your sweater." And I can say, "I made it." I think every knitter likes that, "Oh, I made it." But then I hate the questions that come after, especially if you're dating somebody. It's so random. My brain is hella random right now. They're like, oh, when they find out that you're a knitter and that you can knit, not just regular knit, but you can actually knit and you put patterns together and you make your own designs. They're like, oh, when you're going to make me something. Honestly, I don't like people that much to make anyone anything besides babies. And I think that's one of the reasons why I got into making baby blankets or customizable baby blankets. I've done my first. It's on Etsy. You could check it out if you want. But for the most part, I don't care that they don't appreciate the work because they don't know. And then you don't really understand how, like, expensive knitting can be if you're just on the outside. Like, this is really like and I'm saying like way too much. I need to start giving myself 25 cents every time I say like. But this is really a labor of love. And just sometimes some people like doing and making things with their hands, saying, I created this. This is mine. Like my goal was to never buy sweaters again until I actually found out how long it takes to make one. If you have a life outside of knitting, and the cost of yarn, like they have some yarns that are like 50 grams, which is nothing. 50 grams, which is nothing, that are over $100. I think like the second sweater I made cost me like $500 to make, and I love it. I wear it maybe twice. So that's my way of saying I knit certain things for myself, but the blankets I do for the babies and for the moms that want to get into knitting and want to say that they've made something by hand for their child. And it's also cute, and it's a keepsake, and it's an heirloom. So the only way that I'm going to get to those, because I've designed a couple now, is, again, I have to get through this sweater because my knit instructor slash mentor slash friend, like she is a knit savant, was like, you have to finish this. And that's what I'm doing. All right, so I pretty much went past this sleeve border, so I'm pretty happy about that. And it's coming together slowly. I think probably in another row or two, I am going to put the markers in, see like, yeah, this is the other sleeve connection right here, and it works out to be about 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4, because I'm not counting the first one, so it's still 3 like I had said before. And if you ever have trouble figuring out how to count rows, I highly, highly recommend learning how to do duplicate stitches, because once you do that, it's beautiful, right? Duplicate stitches help you to better understand things. All right, well, that's my cue. My light died, and we can connect another time, but for now, like I always say on my Instagram page, Knit Culture, happy knitting. All right, that's it for now.